Hey everyone, and welcome to r/PettyRevenge. The sub for all those tiny little victories that are just so satisfying. Now, this isn't a sub I visit often, but the stories I've got for you today have been slowly accumulated over the course of I don't even know how long. Probably 3-4 weeks or something, so quite a while. They are the best of what this sub has to offer, so let's get straight into this first one by user/VoteDog. I've suffered from chronic migraines since I was a kid. Something important for every migraine sufferer to know are their triggers. Triggers are the things in your life that are most likely to start a migraine. For some, it may be extreme heat, for others, it's stress, and for me, it's salt. I can't have a lot, and if I do, a migraine will start almost right away. Due to this, I can only have Chinese food every once in a while, and I have to be very careful to read labels for sodium content. Migraines hurt like a mofo, but can also send me to the emergency room, which is expensive. My ex-mother-in-law, I'll call her Karen, loved to cook and added too much salt to everything. It didn't take me long to notice that right after eating a meal prepared by her, my head would start beating like a drum. We had dinner with them every Sunday, so my ex went to Karen, explained the situation, and asked her to tone down the salt. Karen was not happy. She thought changing the ingredients of her food would alter the taste too much. She agreed to cut back, but the very next time we had dinner with them, I went home feeling like my head was going to explode, and I knew she hadn't. My wife asked her about it later, and Karen said she'd originally cut the salt, but after tasting it, decided it wasn't flavorful enough, and added it back in. She told my wife she wouldn't sacrifice flavor for me, so that's the last time we had Sunday dinner there. Months later, we had to go there for a birthday party. We arrived early, hours from dinner, so Karen hadn't started cooking yet. I was in the kitchen getting a beverage and saw her precious salt shaker sitting on the counter. I picked it up, went into the pantry, and hid it behind some boxes of cereal. While there, I saw the round refill container, grabbed that, and hid it too. Hours later, Karen's cooking, and we hear a commotion. She's upset she can't find her salt shaker. She goes into the pantry, complaining that she also can't find the large container either. My wife and I were sitting outside, acting like nothing was out of the ordinary. She ended up cooking all the dishes without salt and complained the whole time about how terrible everything tasted. Karen was in a very bad mood as everyone dished up. It wasn't long before they started complimenting her on her food. People were saying it was some of the best she'd ever made. And from her face, you could see she was shocked to hear that. Several people said to her, "This is great. Did you tone down the salt? You use a lot, you know. This tastes like you used the perfect amount." To which Karen hissed, "It has no salt because I can't find my shakers." Nobody else was bothered by this. They just nodded and agreed it was amazing. The more they complimented her, the more upset she got. For some reason, she never thought to ask anyone if they had purposely taken them. We ate and then got up to leave not long afterward. On our way out, we went to the kitchen to take some leftovers home. While there, I pulled the salt shaker and container out, put them in our bag, took them home, and trashed them. It was the first time I'd eaten a meal with that family and not gone home with a migraine. Geez, if this woman added no salt, and it tasted amazing, how much would she normally put in? I mean, because Opie does mention Chinese food in particular, I assume it's something that would have had something like soy sauce or any number of other salty sauces that would have made the food very salty anyway. And yeah, I don't really see the point of adding too much extra salt then. Like, if you put too much salt in, it just straight up ruins a dish. I mean, Opie, it was a very creative solution. Did your mother change her ways though? Did she start adding less salt? Because, I mean, some people, they just love the extra salt. That's how they love their food. I'm curious if she started cooking differently for guests. And here's the next one by user/Gecko Mama. When I was 17 or 18 years old, I got my first retail job. I worked at a children's store that does ear piercings. I'm sure you all know which one. I started when I was 17, and shortly after turning 18, I was given a keyholder position. I was thrown into the position with practically no instruction and absolutely no training. I did my best, and even though I made mistakes, I was actually doing fairly well. Time passes, I get back from a sleepover, and my mother informed me that while I was gone, my grandfather had passed away. Now, I worked just 2 hours after I got the news, so I went in, still struggling not to cry my eyes out at any second. The first thing I see is the store manager standing there looking annoyed. She takes me over to a bench out in the middle of the mall and sits with me and starts telling me about all the things I'm doing wrong. That is, all the things I hadn't been trained on. Well, I mostly just blankly stared at her and tried not to cry. I wasn't taking any of the information in at all. I was just too upset. Eventually, she noticed and asked what was wrong. And I broke down and started sobbing and told her. I then asked if I could go home, as I didn't think I could work efficiently with this news. She told me absolutely not, and she left, leaving me completely alone in the store. Now, for context, the store sold these stuffed animals called Beanie Boss. They also had giant versions that were about $40 to $50 a piece, I think. It's been years since I've worked there. But anyway, some old lady walked in and decided to buy 4 of those. And was ready to pay when I told her about a store close by that sold them for a cheaper price. She thanked me and left, having not bought them. So, there was my revenge for being rude and uncaring about his death. Then, shortly after, I found out from a friend and fellow keyholder that they had not only accused me of stealing a few dollar items, which I'd not done, but they'd also accused me of lying about my grandfather's death to get out of trouble. So, in a fit of fury, I called up the manager from before, told her I quit, shut down the store 2 hours early, and went home. Probably lost them about $500 in total sales that day, and proud of it. I know it's not much in the grand scheme of things, they make millions. But it made me feel better. I now have a picture of my grandfather hanging where I used to hang my store keys. Hey, maybe it was nothing to the chain, but I don't actually know what store you're talking about, so if this was a franchise location, it could have been quite a big deal for the owner. Like, Saturday afternoon is busy time. Like, I'd expect you to get a fair chunk of your sales on a Saturday afternoon. Then there are people in the comments mentioning that they might have been fined by the mall as well, so your actions could have had quite some repercussions, OP. Though yes, it is extremely sad that your manager treated you like that and had absolutely no sympathy for you. I guess it's a good thing you quit. And here's the next one by user/RealOV. As a teen, I was the bad kid in school that always lipped off to the teachers and had a huge chip on my shoulder. I wish I could go back and treat people differently, but I can't. In 7th grade, I was really into skateboarding, smoking cigarettes, skipping class with my friends, and etc. When I did go to class, I was disruptive at best. My music teacher, old Mrs. Grainer, had tried everything to get me to just shut up and leave her class alone. Meetings with parents, detentions, extra homework, she tried it all. Or so I thought. Every day in between classes, there would be announcements on the loudspeaker. What's for lunch, sports events coming up, academic achievements, and whatever. On this day, the assistant principal was listing the 7th grade students of the month for different categories. Math, science, critical issues, and the student of the month for music studies is OP. I froze in the hallway. Sure, I was just hearing things. Then my friends started finding me in the hallway, just roasting me for being such a good boy and a teacher's pet. I went to music class that day, and with the biggest poop-eating grin on her face, Mrs. Grainer had the whole class stand up and give me a round of applause for being such a great student in her class. I don't believe I've ever been more embarrassed in my life. Even at 12, I knew what she was doing, and that she just completely owned me. I behaved the rest of the year in her class, and I like to think that taught me a lesson. Wow, P, your teacher was playing the game. She knew how to get it done. She exhausted all the normal versions. Clearly your parents' detentions and extra homework were doing nothing to you. You probably skipped half of those anyway. But publicly humiliating you, that would have hurt. Though I mean, this wasn't even a public humiliation. Your teacher named you the top student. And by doing that, she humiliated you. This is big brain stuff right here. I'm actually in awe of this strategy. But let's move on to the next one by user/RenLobo. One day, back in the late 90s, my mother tells me that she's been getting phone calls between 2 and 4 a.m. every day for a week. She says she hears a strange noise when she answers it. I realize it's a fax machine. So I bring my computer over to try and figure out who the hell it is. I set up the computer to receive the fax and spend the night. In the morning, I pull up the fax on the computer and it's for some paving company. It's a bill for a private school in town. So I call the paving company and tell them they have the wrong number and to stop faxing my mother at 3 a.m. The guy gives me attitude and hangs up. I leave my computer just in case. Next day, same garbage with the fax. This time though, it was an advertisement. What the F? So I wait until after they're closed for the day and send them a fax back. It says, stop faxing my mother at 3 a.m. at XXX phone number. Then 200 pages of solid black to make sure and run out all the toner in the cartridge. Never got a call or fax again. Never mess with my mum. Yeah, I've heard from these subs that people have had quite a bit of fun with faxes. I am not very well versed in faxes, other than it seems to be a printer that you can use at a distance. Like, you can send something to someone and it prints it out for them. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, just never really had to use one, so I'm not sure how they operate. Though, I can imagine 200 pages of black and then having to go and get a whole new set of toner would not be fun. And here's the next one by /IAntTaintDead. My first year teaching, I worked with 20 different classes. I normally have no problem with kids, but I had one student in a class of 12-year-olds that was particularly difficult. He was likely going through things at home and was very disrespectful as a way of lashing out for attention. He would frequently disrupt the class. For example, he would frequently talk over me, say I was too young, and curse in class because he thought I didn't understand, and do other things that were by no means unprecedented from a 12-year-old acting out, but definitely made the class harder to get through. One of the problems I had with him was he would always try to run back to his classroom once my class was done. At that age, they weren't expected to walk in lines in the school, but running was absolutely not cool. Finally, I realized the ultimate revenge against a 12-year-old boy. Since he couldn't handle walking back without running, I made him hold my hand all the way back to the class. He was super embarrassed and his friends were giggling, but after that, he never misbehaved in my class again. Afterwards, he ended up participating a lot more too, so win-win. And once again, a creative teaching solution. You teachers have just the most creative solutions to all these problems. And also 20 different classes. Would you be someone like a music teacher, OP, that you just give one class every week to a whole bunch of classes? Like, 20 is a lot. But yeah, either way, what a great solution to that problem. And guys, I think this post will be the last one for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos every second day. That's right, I'm trying to maintain an upload schedule of every second day. I hope I can keep it up. But with that said, you guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.